I had a dream the other night. I guess we all have dreams. Some of them I remember and try to figure out what they mean. I had a dream the other night. It was in the summertime. It was really a pretty day, a warm day. The sun was shining and all those white clouds were puffed up everywhere. And I was riding on a float down the street of Bluefield, and there were people on both sides of the float. People had their dogs. There was squirrels in the tree, cats and everything all around. People had lined the streets, and I was riding on a float. And I was taking a copy of this book, and I was pitching them off to people as I went down the street. And you know what they was doing? The people, they would walk over and they would look at the book lying on the ground. They would pick the book up and they were throwing the book back at me. Now that made me think. Some people do not receive everything I say. Some people throw it back at me. It's a good book. I worked hard on the book. I put all of my energy into the book. The name of it is Coffee Talk for 4 Seasons. It doesn't really talk a lot about coffee, but coffee has always been a part of my ministry from the very beginning. I've always had coffee, always offered people a cup of coffee, and I would tell stories about Jesus and personal experiences through my life as I grew up. I like coffee. You're aware of that. Sometimes people get tired of hearing that, but I like coffee. Not only do I like coffee, I like good coffee. I like good coffee. 30 years ago, when I first began in ministry, I tried to find the best coffee in Nicholas County. I would go out and I would stop at all these little shops, gas stations, Go Mart, and I was looking for the best coffee in Nicholas County. And I found it. I found the coffee. It was at Go Mart. And I wrote an article and put it in the paper about the best coffee in Nicholas County could be found at Go Mart. Not long after that, I walked in a Go Mart. They had 4 Go Marts in Nicholas County. I walked in the Go Mart and walked back to the coffee, where the coffee was, and I looked, and there was my article taped against the coffee pot. I got me a cup of coffee and went up and was going to pay the cashier, and she said, No. You have free coffee in all of Nicholas County at Go Marts. I said, for how long? And she said, forever. So that was the best coffee in Nicholas County. And I come to Bluefield many years later, and I'm thinking, where can you find a good cup of coffee? Well, it's hard to find in Bluefield. Used to be down by Stadium Drive, next to Bluefield College. At that station, you get a good cup of coffee. They had French roast, and it was very good. I went in there, maybe a week ago, went back there and looked for French roast, and there's no French roast there. Maybe the best place to find good coffee is in the churches that I serve, because I make it. And to me, it's the best coffee. How do you make a good cup of coffee? Well, for Christmas, I got a bag of coffee. I looked at that coffee and I opened up that coffee, and it was coffee beans. Coffee beans. And I thought, what am I supposed to do with this? Well, I thought I'd grind it. I don't have a grinder. I went out to Walmart and bought a grinder. It cost $12. I grinded that coffee, and I took a drink of it, and it was so good. So if you want a good cup of coffee, buy the beans and grind the beans. And as I was putting the grinder up, I looked and there was a French press. A French press to make coffee with. And I thought, ooh. So I grinded some more beans. I put the coffee in the French press. I pressed it and I poured some out into a cup. And oh man, you talk about good. If you want a good cup of coffee, grind the beans and then put it in a French press. And that makes very, very good coffee. But you know what? It's a lot of work. Sometimes if you want the very best of something, or if you want to do the very best that you can do, it takes a lot of work. And then I was thinking, if I really want a good cup of coffee, I'll get the beans, grind the beans, put it in a French press, and then put it in this thermos jug. Put it in this thermos jug, take it to Nicholas County, to Nancy Hart's grave, to the forest, throw it in the snow, let it lay there for a year, and come back and pour a cup of coffee out of this after a year. I'm just kidding about that. That would be a lot of work. But you know, as Christians, the most important thing in our life is our witness of Jesus Christ. And that, many times, is a lot of work. We have to love doing it. I love making good coffee. It takes work. To witness the love and the forgiveness and the redemption in Jesus Christ takes a lot of work. What is the most important thing you do every day? Well, to hear me talk, you might think the most important thing I do every day is make coffee. That's way down the list. The most important thing I do every day is I pray and I think about Jesus and how to tell the story of Jesus' love and his forgiveness. That's the most important thing I do every day. And I want to do the very best I can do at it. And if I do, I have to work at it. And it's not easy. It's not easy making all that adjustments and stuff for a cup of coffee. You ever clean a French press? It's a pain. You know, I've preached for 31 years, and yes, I've drank coffee for 31 years. And through those times, I've always tried to do the very best that I can do. Why do I do that? Because it's the most important thing that I do, and because Jesus gave his very best for each and every one of us. On Mondays, I go into the office and I look around the office and I see stacks of sermons. Years ago, a fellow said, Brent, every sermon you preach, you take notes on them, put them in a folder, title them, and lay them up. And I've done that. And each and every Monday, I look at those sermons and I think, boy, it would be so easy just to walk over and pull one of them off the shelf and re-preach it. I can do that. Truth be known, over 31 years, I have done that. But you know, that's not the best I can do. Because those sermons were meant for another time and for another congregation. Each and every Sunday, I try to do the very best I can do. Sometimes it may be good and sometimes not so good. But always know this, I'm always doing my best. And sometimes people throw those sermons back to me. What's the most important thing you do? Work hard and do your very best. Amen.